You likely landed here because you value a world that is fair for all. With all of the stories about poverty, war, and violence we hear in the news each day, it can often seem like these problems are so complex they are impossible for us as individuals to solve. How can we change a society where the world's wealthiest 1% own more than the rest of the world combined, where the US has the highest incarceration rate in the world, and at least 700% higher than other industrialized countries, and 45% of US children live in poverty? The problems are complex, but they aren't unsolvable. And there are things we can do, both as individuals and as communities, to make a more just world. Before we begin looking at how we can create a more just world, let's take a look at our own personal values. If you were to make a scrapbook of your life, what would be your 3 fondest memories? Did your answers to the previous question involve relationships, experiences, or accomplishments? Or did they involve the accumulation of things? If you're like most people, fond memories likely include people close to you, new adventures, or accomplishments you strived to achieve. Think about the 3 memories you listed. What factors contributed to these being your fondest memories? What does this say about what you value in life? We'll come back to that last question, but let's take a look at what our spending habits look like. The average American consumes twice as much as we did 50 years ago. On average, we are barraged by over 3,000 images of advertising a day, and while we make up 5% of the population, we consume 30% of its resources. As you can see from the previous questions, we are a nation of consumers. Our economy hinges on our spending habits. Post 9/11, as our economy began to tumble, then President Bush urged us to consume to help keep the economy afloat. In 2008, in the midst of the Great Recession, President Obama urged the same. We buy so much stuff that the U.S. self-storage industry will reach $29 billion in revenue in 2016 as we try to figure out what to do with all of our stuff. But while we consume more, what we earn in relation to the cost of living, paying for housing, food, and basic needs, has actually decreased 10%. You might wonder, how can we buy more if we are earning less? Even though the cost of things like healthy food and housing has gone up, the price of consumer goods has fallen significantly. Some of the price decrease can be attributed to industry becoming more efficient at creating goods, but much can be attributed to the cost of labor being suppressed. In fact, there are entire industries predicated on maintaining low wages in order to sell cheap products and services. The nation's largest employer, Walmart, the fast food industry, and many other retailers rely on paying low wages in order to offer low-priced goods and services, while their investors and owners make handsome profits. Retailers, in turn, rely on manufacturers that pay low wages to churn out inexpensive goods, extending low wages to manufacturing and other sectors. All of this is designed to allow rich folks to accumulate more wealth. But the purpose of an economic system is to facilitate how we exchange resources to make our lives better. Earlier we talked about values. If the economy is supposed to make our lives better, shouldn't our economy be aligned with our values instead of making a few people richer? Fortunately, while the economy is complex, making it align with our values is in our hands. We are all participants in the economy, as either producers or consumers, or both. So we can have a say in how our values play out in our economy. As a consumer, we can commit to spend our money only in ways that align with our values. For example, if one of your values has to do with people, you can buy fair trade, shop at farmers markets where you can often get to know the farmers, and otherwise make sure the goods and services you buy come from companies that treat their employees fairly. Now that you have viewed this video, take our interactive test by clicking on the launch button below to see how much you have learned.